Welcome to another episode of the Social Proof Podcast, where we talk entrepreneurship for entrepreneurs just like you and you and you and you and you and you over there too. My name is Donni Wiggins. I am your favorite business coach, and I am sitting here with
David Shands. I am an entrepreneur, coach, podcast creator, aficionado.
And you know what? I'm tired of being strong.
Is that a word?
Aficionado.
What does that mean exactly?
Why would you use the word?
It seems like a facilitator of something, right?
It's more like an expert of something.
Oh yeah, I'm aficionado. Yep, for sure. I'm aficionado.
So an aficionado is a person who's very knowledgeable and enthusiastic about an activity, subject, or pastime. You are for sure an aficionado.
Adding it to my bio.
Say the word one more time.
Aficionado.
No, it's not aficionado. That sounds like something you eat. I'm going to take the fish-anado.
I'll take the aficionado.
Let me get the fish-anado. Blackened, extra butter sauce. It's aficionado.
Aficionado. I feel like Webby. Remember when he was like, Charlamagne.
Listen.
Angela Lee.
Aficionado.
So that's what I said, aficionado. Isn't it what I said? Aficionado? I'm trying to prove the point, and I got it.
Aficionado.
It's aficionado.
It's aficionado.
It's aficionado.
According to your proof.
This is wrong. I shouldn't have used it.
Now we're both
I should have
wrong.
vetted the proof first. You guys, we got a good episode for you today.
Yes.
I was having a conversation about this very same thing on yesterday with a friend about just being the strong person, right? A couple of things. When you are an entrepreneur, but especially a Black entrepreneur, and you achieve some level of success, we are placed on this pedestal of perceived perfection. And I want to say perceived perfection, right? We start getting judged based off of the accolades that everybody thinks we have or the accomplishments that people think we have. And sometimes you will feel pressure to not be performative, pressure to not show up perfect because you're the Black person that made it. You're the person in your family that's shifting the dynamic, so you can't really mess up. Also, that said, we're looked at as the strong friend, the strong family member, and we're constantly, do you ever feel like you are the person for everybody who's close to you, where you're constantly pouring into them? You have an idea, you're pushing them, like, bruh, I can help you do X, Y, and Z. But the people who are closest to you can't pour back into you the same way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think it's designed like that because if you are the person in your family that goes to win, everybody in your family, unless you're like the Wayans brothers or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, unless you're one of those families, or I was just looking at this Father's Day post from, I want to say it was Matthew Hudson. So they got like Matthew Hudson and Lampo, Philip Hudson and Emmanuel Hudson. And I'm like, dang, that's dope because all of them are funny and all of them are doing their thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have another one, but I thought that was super fire.
Yeah.
But that's so rare to be in a circle of like close friends where all of y'all are winning at a high level. Typically, you have to go to another circle and be in that community. But like your close friends, it's just really difficult to be in that situation. So I've accepted that that's how it just has to be that way.
So then, to your point, I think that we've created a circle of high level people. I was telling my friend this yesterday because you're right. Some of our family members and some of our like day one friends don't feel like they can pour into this version of us, right? Because you've grown and you've done things that maybe they hadn't yet experienced. For me, though, pouring in doesn't mean that you're necessarily helping with my business.
Yeah.
For me, sometimes pouring in just means that you notice I'm off and you check on me.
Yeah.
You notice that something is wrong and you make it your business to find out and get to the bottom of it. Or you're my friend and you know that I forget to eat until 3 p.m. And you shoot me lunch because anytime you need me, I show up for you, right?
Yeah.
One of my friends said, you can't pour into people with an expectation that they pour back into you, right? And then you have to understand what pouring back looks like for them.
Yeah.
And in those circles, sometimes we're meant to be the pot. We're meant to be the people doing the pouring. It's not always reciprocal.
Yeah, but let's be fair too, because the way we show up around our friends, we probably try to make it seem like we're that strong friend, so they don't even get an opportunity to see that something's wrong because we're always wearing our cape. You know what I mean? So if we did show up and, you know, kind of was like more vulnerable, maybe they'll have had a chance to see it. But because we, and I say we, anybody that's dealing with this, we show up as Superwoman or Superman, they don't even get a chance to see that we're hurting because we don't want to be vulnerable.
Why not? Why do you posture yourself as strong amongst the people who are closest to you?
Because why would you want to show up as weak?
Why can't you just be in a weak moment?
I mean, we probably have our weak moments, just why would we let everyone else know?
But is it showing up as weak or is it showing up as human?
Well, I think the human element of us doesn't want to be perceived a certain way, so we put it on.
One of the things that have grown my business significantly is my relatability factor due to my transparency, right? Sharing with people when I have lost, sharing when I've won, sharing when I've experienced depression or sadness and things like that. You know what's interesting is I'm talking about this right now. I've shared it first. I went through a season last year of depression. We've talked about this. And there were people who are very close to me, yourself included, who could not tell something was wrong with me. And I remember going through this period of like resentment, like, how are you this close to me and you don't know when I'm crying out for help, right? You don't notice it. But I never, until that one conversation that you and I had in the car, I never came to you and said, Dave, something's wrong. Until we went to that speaking engagement and I'm like, Dave, something's wrong. I never went to the people who were closest to me to say, hey, something's wrong. But I did go to my podcast mic and say, y'all, I've been going through it. This is what I am experiencing. And it literally just clicked for me. We expect people to be mind readers, or we expect sometimes that people don't have their own set of circumstances that they're going through that keeps them from being so deeply in tune with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we, as the person that is the strong friend, we sometimes feel the need to be strong for other people. And we don't want to burden other people with our issues, because just like we're going through something, I think we understand that everybody else has their own set of issues too. And we don't want to be the person that is negative Nancy. Now, you know what I think has messed a lot of us up? Personal development.
Personal development.
The positive
Being
self-talk.
positive.
Oh my gosh.
I was just reading a book somewhere. I don't remember which book it is, but I really want to dive deeper into it. But walking around in a state of constant positivity is actually considered toxic behavior.
Oh, it's a nasty way to live.
It's walking around in a constant state of positivity is toxic behavior.
Yeah.
And it's because what ends up happening is you believe so badly that if you expose a vulnerability or a weakness, or if you register a complaint, then you're suddenly this negative person.
Yeah.
It's to assume that anything that's not positive is bad.
Yeah, I think here's the path though. The personal development is for the people who have a to the core negative mindset, their belief system, the way they think. It's just, they're negative people. So they need the positive talk to say, think positive, like it's gonna be okay, because maybe they've lived their whole life in a negative state. But once you start to develop that, you get over that, and typically that thought process does lead to financial success. It does lead to a happier life. But what I think happens is you hold that for so long that you don't know how to be vulnerable anymore. And you have to be, like, you've been trained to be positive and not see the negative. And it's so challenging once you get to that cliff of success to say, oh, I'm just going to think my way to more success. And that's what hurts you. So I think some people need it. Like, you're in a state for the next couple of years, you need to think positive.
Yeah.
Because you think everything is like, you think the world's crashing every week.
Yeah. But thinking positive, I think we have a misunderstanding about what that means. It doesn't mean that you don't recognize what's actually happening around you. it means that you're believing for the best possible outcome, right? So I understand that my bank account might not look like what I want it to look like today, but I am believing for the 6-figure bank account or the 7-figure bank account. It doesn't mean that you completely walk around and pretend like it's not at 37 cents today. Yeah. It's at 37 cents today. I understand that. I receive it. But because I am believing for a 6-figure bank account, now here are the positive habits and mindset shifts and reframing that I'm going to do in order to become the person that I need to become to get that. But what's happening is people are thinking that you have to believe, like you're ignoring. It's not about what you're believing the outcome to be. You're ignoring what really is happening. And we can't ignore what's really, really happening. Otherwise, you don't recognize what you have to correct in order to get the outcome that you want. And then you walk around being completely unrelatable in your family, in your business, in front of whoever it is that you're leading. We have to, number one, recognize the problem. When it comes to personal development should be teaching you to recognize the problem, but not live in the problem.
Yes, I like that. Recognize the problem, but don't live in the problem.
Yeah.
Man, but life is so hard, bro. Like, think about this. Let's say you've been poor your whole life and someone's telling you to think positive, that one day you'll have 6 figures in your bank account. And no matter how much you say it or the affirmations you write, it's a part of your brain that will not allow you to believe it because you've been beat up for so long.
Yeah.
Or let's say the person that maybe they've desired a certain type of relationship for so long and it never came to fruition. You know what I mean? Not even, I'm talking about the person that can't even get a date. You are so blessed because you'll never have a shortage of dates. You feel me? You got a vibe to you. Like you have... You know what I mean? You got some, but there are some people who, and at least you have the confidence to know that I am that deal. You have a certain positivity that I think people are attracted to. But there's somebody who their whole life they've been told that they're ugly, or their whole life they've dealt with weight issues, and every single relationship came to a dead end.
Yeah.
So we're like, yo, think positive. Like, you can live your best life. You can have a hot girl summer. And no matter what they say or write down or the seminars they go to, it's something in their brain that won't allow them to believe it.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
That really is tough. That brings me, that reminds me of a story. Like 2012-ish, I was working a job up in Dunwoody, and I lived on Camp Creek at the time. And I used to take the train back and forth. The traffic was just too bad. And I'm on the phone with my mom one morning because, you know, you see all kind of weird stuff depending on what train station you're at. And so I'm at one of these weird stops. And there's this guy who every single morning would try to talk to me. I got to get your number. I got to do this. And, you know, it was weird. It wasn't flattering, right? It was weird to me. I just got, you so fine, you so this, that, and the other. And I'm speaking to my mom, and I was always kind to him, but I was speaking to my mom, and I said to her, like, oh my God, here he goes. Before he come over here, just talk to me, like, so I can act busy. And my mom said, you know, there are some women who go their whole lives without ever receiving a compliment. And I never want you to get so far removed from that to think that this is just a natural way of being. I know that you don't want to be bothered. I know that you have no interest in this man, but be grateful that somebody actually thinks you're beautiful to the point where they would speak it and compliment you, because some people never hear you're pretty or you're handsome or you're attractive or I want you, I desire you. And that was in like 2011, 2012, and it reframed my entire perspective for how I handle any man that gives me a compliment. It also reframed in that moment how I speak to people, period. I am always the first to say hello. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? People get on the elevator. Hey, good morning. How are you? Because there are people who are living that life that you're talking, like they walk around and they feel invisible to the whole world. So then it would be difficult for that person to not live in their mind of constant negativity, in the mindset of constant negativity. But for that person, the first thing that you have to do is an introspective audit. Because if you are that person that feels invisible, feels unattractive, you've never received a compliment, chances are, if you really do an introspective audit and say, hey, how am I presenting myself? How am I speaking in certain rooms? How am I grooming myself? What does my confidence say about me when I enter a room? Chances are you will start to find that there are some things that you can do to build your own confidence up, because people approaching you or not approaching you has more to do with the energy that you give off than what they think of you. I know people, men and women, who by society standards probably aren't considered the most attractive person, but they're popular, they have all the friends, they're invited to every event, people love their energy, they want to be around them. So it's not what you're missing necessarily on the outside, it's what's happening on the inside of you that makes you show up in rooms in a way that nobody wants to get to know you.
And what are some steps if somebody's watching that to begin that process? Because they know they need to take that introspective look. Yeah. And kind of, I'm imagining you're saying, find your inner beauty, like, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's more about being intentional about doing the work on yourself, right? So one of the things that helped me out a lot, not necessarily in confidence in the way that I look, but confidence in the way that I show up, it was earmarking somebody who I admired in that way. I found a man and I found a woman and I'm like, man, I wish I could show up like that, right? So maybe for you, the first step is to find an example, because a lot of people don't have them at home and you've never really thought about it, right? So find an example of the way you desire. Like if you had it perfectly, how do you desire to show up? If you desire to show up like David, well, what are some of David's habits? How does David present himself, right? What are the things that he's doing to be that person? If you desire to present like me or whoever it might be, now you want to lock in and find out, what is this person doing? So you'll know that I read 2 to 4 books every single month. That has to mean something for the way that I show up in certain rooms and feel like I have value to contribute to that room. The way that I present myself, right? I'm not, you'll never see me outside in a bonnet and socks. I was in the airport yesterday in Houston and I was so disappointed by how many young girls I saw in the airport walking around in slippers and bonnets, some in fuzzy socks and bonnets and pajamas. Why would you think anybody would want to voluntarily connect with that? It's just, and I know I'm going to catch some hell for that, but it's not the way you present yourself. You want to be respected. You want people to add value to you. You want people to see you as value, but you put no effort into the way you position yourself and present yourself to the world. Like, we got to do better. You couldn't possibly say, I want to present like David and show up to the airport in pajamas. David Shantz would never do that, right? You'll see David, he's always on brand. He's wearing something usually 90% of the time that he created. He has a framework for his outfits. It's going to be a bottom, a top, a hat. 100% of the time, right? You pay attention to David and you say, oh, okay, when David walks into a room, he walks into a room with friendly energy, approachable energy. He's smiling. He's going to speak. When you see David in a room, he's inquisitive. Okay, I see. So he asks questions. Maybe a changing or a transitional factor for me is to show up and start using my voice and asking questions. When I see Donni Wiggins in a room, she's not afraid to raise her hand and show up with some information to add value in the room. When I see David and Donni, oh wait, okay, they give all their information away. They're not gatekeeping. This is what makes people see them as value adds in any room. They're just giving it away. They're presentable. They look clean. They look neat. They're smiling. They're friendly. They're approachable. They smell great. These are things that you can start to identify. Oh, they're working on their physical fitness. They're working on their wellness. Maybe that's an indicator for me. Maybe it's not necessarily that I'm overweight. Maybe whether I'm overweight or on weight or underweight, I just present sloppy. Start paying attention to people who you admire, people who you would trade places with.
Yeah.
Like, I love the way she shows up. I want to do more of that. But you can't look at the Gabrielle Union and being Mary Jane, or the Kerry Washington in Scandal, who's in the pencil skirts and the high heels and the hair is always in place. But you roll out of bed and hop on your Zoom with the camera off because you hadn't gotten the sleep out of your eyes yet. That Gabrielle Union and that Kerry Washington would never show up that way.
For sure. I think that the next thing that would take your life to another level, or at least start walking along that path, is to find out what makes you happy. Mm-hmm. And some of the aesthetic stuff, maybe you're not into. Maybe you're not a fashionado, right?
No,
yes? No,
no, David.
Fashionado?
Do that word one more. Like, we literally just had a lesson. I gave
No, but that was
you
a different word. I'm talking about
a fashionista?
We as a fashion, not a fashionable person. Maybe fashion isn't what does it for you. But I believe, and this is what I've experienced in throughout my life, my 40 years, is once I leaned into the things that made me happy, everything else started to change. Mm-hmm. What makes me happy is travel. Well, if travel makes me happy, then I'll happily do the work that it takes to make enough money to travel. Mm-hmm. And I'll happily look the part so that I can make enough money so that I can travel. But if y'all don't find out what makes you happy, you'll spend your whole life chasing, and you'll think that money for money's sake or influence would have made you happy, and it doesn't. I'm talking about the to the core stuff that makes you happy. Bro, I left the house this morning knowing I'm going out of town, and it did not make me happy to have to try to sneak out of the house before my daughter was fully awake, because she's going to cry if she doesn't see me over the next couple of days. That did not make me happy. And I started thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Mm-hmm. But on the other end, I'm going to do something else that makes me happy in terms of like looking at camera gear and upgrades and lighting and all that kind of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, I'm looking at, like, on my way to work, I'm thinking about my schedule, and my schedule is every single day. We start at 7 o'clock. I get home at like 5. I'm trying to get my kids down to 5:30. Trying to get my kids down by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I have to change some things.
Yeah.
I have to change some things. So my mind goes to, if I want to have an entire day, let's say Friday I don't do anything, or Thursday I do anything, whatever the day, I need to set my life up in a way where that is my day with my kids. But I haven't gotten there yet because I'm so busy. But I believe my moral of the story is, if you identify what makes you happy, it will let you analyze what needs to be done to get happy.
Well, and see that, having your kids see you every single morning and not crying, fearing that you won't be home at the end of the day, that was a new level that you experienced or that you unlocked, right? And when it comes to finding happiness, for most people, it's not just saying, oh, this makes me happy, right? To go back to your original question of where do you even start with all of this? Many times what your discovery of happiness and purpose and fulfillment comes through trial and error. Mm-hmm. Many of you feel stuck. Many of you feel unfulfilled, unsatisfied, and just flat out miserable in your life because you're spending way too much time thinking on an idea and you're not trying anything because you're waiting for the idea to come out and be perfect. You're like, I thought of an idea. I want to do this, but now let me outline every single little detail. And if something doesn't add up for you, you never try it at all. I found out what made me happy by trying new things and having experiences. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to like travel, I found that I'm not like the camp out in nature type of girl.
Oh, I hate it.
Right? I don't like that. But when we say, oh, I love to travel, and then somebody puts together this 10-day safari for you in the middle of Montana, right. I don't want to do that, right?
Bro, we were zip lining in Jamaica, and I got up there and I said to myself first, I don't like this. And it was like all the pressure, like, come on, let's just do the zip line. It'll be fun. And then I did the first one and I said, whoa, that wasn't fun. I'm not doing this ever again. And I only did it to make everybody else happy because their happiness was found in the Ziploc. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm sorry. It was just a triggering thing for me. That didn't make me happy. That didn't add to my trip.
Well, that's a good point. Because your happiness won't be found in what makes other people happy.
Exactly.
And that is what you have to understand. Your happiness cannot be a result of what other people bring to your table. Your happiness cannot be a result of what other people find that makes them happy. So oftentimes you're stuck in a place of unfulfillment and unhappiness and misery because you're trying to manifest other people's happiness as your own. And it just doesn't work out. I could be with someone who loves camping trips. I don't necessarily love the idea of bugs crawling in my tent at night. I'm
sexy.
cool. I love luxury resorts. All right. I love places that provide service. I want to be served hand and foot. Yes, ma'am. I would like more towels this morning. Thank you very much. That's more my vibe. You understand what I'm saying? But if I joined a travel group, because David says that he's in this travel group and they go camping for the next 6 months, if I try to do that just to keep up with you, I am sacrificing what actually makes me happy. And in order for us to be in friendship and in relationship with people, sometimes there are some areas that we have to bend on to do things that other people enjoy doing as well. That's called flexibility. But what that's not called is happiness, right? It's not what makes you complete. It's not what makes you happy. And you have to think about, like, what are the things, okay, well, what makes you happy? Donni, if that doesn't make me happy, then what makes me happy? When you are in your period of isolation, which I think is critical for every single human being, you have to go into a season of you and only you against you. When you're in that season, what are the things you wish you could be doing? Is it traveling? Is it hiking? Is it working out? Is it having sex? Is it going on dates? Is it in a relationship? Is it reading your Bible? Is it serving at the church?
Having what?
Good sex.
If it makes you happy, go crazy.
If it makes you happy, what that means is you probably desire a relationship, a healthy relationship, long-term, leading to marriage, where you can have a bunch of grown-up activities. All right.
But let me ask this though. Let me ask this. What if we are so conditioned to the things that we do, that is the thing that makes us happy, but it's actually detrimental to our end goal happiness?
So anything that's detrimental to you cannot be leading to your happiness. It's not a contributing factor to happiness. It's a contributing factor to a mask that you're wearing to cover up some type of trauma that you hadn't confronted.
I don't know. Hold on. So I've been, for the last 3 weeks or so, I've not eaten any carbs, no bread, no dairy, no sweets. I've been eating grilled, skinless chicken and broccoli and salads, and kale. And it just doesn't make me happy. No, seriously, you're laughing, but it affects my mood and I don't like it.
Yeah.
It really makes me mad and I'm snapping at people and I realize I'm addicted to food.
Well, and you just proved my point. It's not that food makes you happy. You have an addiction to food, which is a trauma response to something. I don't know why you have this addiction to food, but you have an addiction to unhealthy eating. Why wouldn't we want to eat optimal foods that maximizes our health and wellness?
Because it doesn't taste that good.
I understand, but these aren't things that make you happy, right? You like the satisfaction of being full. You like the satisfaction of greasy, cheesy macaroni and cheese and pasta, fried chicken. You want that ribeye with all the fat on it and that cowboy butter. Like, you want those things. You want the sauce because of how it makes you feel to devour the sauce. But you deeply desire to be fit. You deeply desire to be fit. And here's the thing, in order to be fit and get that outcome, that doesn't mean that you can't ever have the ribeye with the cowboy butter and the broccoli with the cheese. Right now, you're just in a season of sacrifice, right? Right now, you want the abs. And we all have abs, right? If you look at me right now, I have abs. But I also have like a little bit of fat that's on top of the abs, covering up the result that I actually want. What I want is underneath this fat. And in order to get and break through these layers of fat, I am going to have to sacrifice some of the things that I like, that I believe makes me happy for a small season, to cut through this fat and get to the abs that I'd love to reveal. That doesn't mean that I'll never be able to have a piece of cake. You don't have to rob yourself of complete joy. Like, you can do things in moderation. And I think sometimes as just people, we want to overindulge so much. We are selfish with our needs, meaning I'm only going to do what makes us happy. Well, you're probably going to be a person who suffers and struggles in relationships. You're probably going to be a person that has a hard time with commitment. You're probably a person that you'll find out about yourself that you sit on the fence a whole lot because you can't make a decision and stick to it. Y'all, happiness doesn't mean that you'll be happy 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Happiness doesn't mean that there won't be sad moments. Happiness doesn't mean that you won't have to sacrifice something, right? In order to become your best self, you understand that there is sacrifice. Sometimes there is sadness. Sometimes there are moments of weakness, but the big picture is you're staying on a track to do the things that make you feel good. And that's what happiness really is. It's things that make you feel good that also allow you to serve at your highest level in a good way to other people.
Well said, because I do look in the mirror on a regular basis and I get happy. I took some before pictures.
What are we even talking about right now?
I'm just saying. It was like, it was a sense of joy when I took my shirt off and I saw these top little
You
abs.
see them coming in? Show us.
I'm not doing that.
Let us see.
I'm not thirst trapping these young
It's right
ladies out
there.
here.
It's these right here.
It's this top little area. Now I still got this little part right here at the bottom.
That's kitchen. That's the kitchen.
It's not nearly as big as it was, but I actually flexed today, and there's an indentation in the middle.
Right there. Yo.
And I got happy. I was like, dang, okay, this is what we're doing it for. So the thing that makes you happy, you have to ask yourself, will it make you happy long term? Because some people believe that what makes them happy is watching a full series on Netflix and eating popcorn in your bed and doing all kind of weird stuff. But if you really think about that, after this is done, will I be happy?
Yeah.
And the answer is, it's not going to fix that.
Well, and there's a difference between like happiness and things that make you feel good or make you feel temporary joy.
For sure.
It's okay if you want to sit on a Saturday and binge watch Netflix, as long as it's not counterproductive to the ultimate goal.
Correct.
So if you're an entrepreneur and you're building a business and you know you have this list of 10 things to get done, on Saturday, if you've done 8 of those things, you may earn a right to binge watch your favorite show on Netflix and eat the popcorn because you've been eating the salmon and the kale and the boiled eggs for breakfast and all the things all week. That's fine. But if you are a person that has fitness goals and you have business goals and you've still got that list of 10 and you get to Saturday and you've done 2, you haven't earned it.
Yeah,
and it won't make you feel happy to sit and watch Netflix on Saturday. On Sunday, you won't feel good about what you did on Saturday. On Saturday, you would have experienced a bit of temporary joy, a temporary satisfaction, actually, just for a moment, but you'll feel guilty. And those are the things that make irresponsible human beings. It's like you meet the girl in the club or you meet the guy in the club. They're beautiful. You talk for a little bit. Y'all go home. You do something. Nobody had any protection. And now, bam, you've got, for that one night of satisfaction, 4 weeks later, you find out that you have created a lifelong responsibility that doesn't really make you happy, right?
For sure.
We have to understand the difference between what's going to bring us a fulfilled type of happiness and a temporary moment of satisfaction. And then we have to determine what are the things that we need to do? What are the habits that we need to create? What are the boundaries that we need to have? What are the values that we need to identify that keep us on a path of discipline so that we're not taking people home that we meet today and having unprotected sex that results in children with people who you don't even know their family, where their family is from.
What if it's protected, though?
Yeah, you know.
So I think even in those moments of like, yo, I'm about to watch a series or something like that, that becomes a part of your happiness if you're actually working, because you need some time to decompress so that you can go after it. But my point is, you can't live in temporary happiness.
No.
Is the thing that you're doing right now going to lead to some desirable result? I believe what I'm doing with this like food journey or whatever, I think once I do get a chance to indulge, if you will, I think that is going to be a part of my journey, because it keeps me going. Like I know what I need to do is I need to create like some every 2 week cheat day. Because at least I know I'm going towards something, and when I do cheat, I'm like, "Ooh, this is really, really good."
Yeah.
And then I can go another 2 weeks, but we can't just indulge in it all the time.
When you become a person that indulges in your own self-satisfaction at the detriment of what actually needs to happen, it's you being so obnoxiously arrogant towards what God has put you here to do. And the potential that he has given you. It's you saying, I know what I need to do, but I'm going to spend today doing what I want to do. And then I'm going to spend tomorrow also doing what I want to do. And then I'm going to probably spend the next day, because I'm creating more of a routine of not doing what I'm supposed to do because of what I want to do. And that's you saying to God, like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be here and take care of this temple, but I'll start next week.
Yeah.
When I decide to do something, one of the things that I love about myself, one of my character traits, is when I decide that I'm going to do something, it's cold turkey. I don't need to be like weaned into anything, right? If you tell me that something is killing me, immediately I'm done. I don't have to create a plan where I'll just have one a day or anything like that. That's just how I operate. It's just immediate cold turkey. I'm going to create the discipline. Now, we all fall off track. Nobody is a perfect person. It's impossible to be a perfect person. But at some point, we have to become adults, grown, responsible people that says the things that I am doing are a detriment. They're a detriment. I cannot continue to do it, and I'm not going to play this psychological warfare on the inside by giving myself grace. Why would you continue to give yourself grace to break habits that are detrimental to the person that you're trying to become?
I think that gives us, goes back to the one point that you were saying, is identifying who you want to become by modeling someone else. And that is kind of the core of it all. If you don't know where you're going, you'll do anything. Like if you don't know where you're going and you're just driving around, you'll make a turn anywhere. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. And you find yourself lost. How did I end up here? Well, you didn't have a clear destination on where you're going, period. So for us, the strong friends, right? I think many of us understand this concept of setting goals. I need to be a part of some sort of personal development, self-care, things of that nature. But I think we've helped the audience, but I think we still need answers on how you said, taking off the cape. Because I mean, you want to live a fulfilled life, and we want to show up that we're on that path. But I don't even know the question that I'm asking, because I think I'm in this. I don't know if you're in this as well, but it's like and we did it again. Like we were talking about, okay, how can we pour into other people? You feel me? It's like, man, being in this seat that we're in as inspirations, motivations, coaches, consultants, it's hard to not be that.
It is hard to not be that. Can you put a pin in that for a second? Because I want to address something that you just said. You said something like people will find themselves operating with no direction, like they don't know where they're going. And whether you know it or not, you absolutely have a direction. I was looking in the comments a few minutes ago and somebody said, well, if I model somebody else, will I not lose who I really am by trying to be them, right? The point of the matter is everybody is living their lives right now based on somebody else. The things that you're doing. When we are born, we are inheriting the thoughts and beliefs of our parents and the people who are directly responsible for raising us. So you might act like your mom or your grandma or your aunt or your uncle. You may think like that teacher that really had impact on you. And that could be good or bad, right? And so the trajectory of your life right now is highly influenced by other people anyway. Most times, people that we didn't get to choose. We didn't get to choose what family or environment that we were a part of. We didn't get to choose the schools that we attended and those people and those friends that we had. And what I'm saying to you right now is find somebody that you choose. Find somebody that you choose, because a lot of your adult beliefs are connected to your childhood development, training, and brainwashing. You believe what your mom and dad thought. Well, if mom and dad didn't really do too much with their lives, it's time to divorce some of those beliefs. You believe what your high school counselor and your teachers told you, and you're passing that on to your children. But if you didn't see that turn out into a success story, what you're really doing is practicing insanity. You're repeating the same cycle of beliefs and discipline and thought processes that are going to yield the same undesirable results that you didn't want to have. And I say this often, it's one of my favorite quotes. Every single one of us has direction because we're all born looking like our parents, but you're going to die looking like your decisions. So because you didn't get to choose what family you were born into and what impacted your life in the early days, I am urging you right now to choose differently. It's the rich dad, poor dad effect. You're born into this family, you're born into these beliefs, you're born into this process, and you've become an adult who repeat these same things like money doesn't grow on trees because that's what your mom told you. Nope, can't get that because money doesn't grow on trees. Are you sure? Right? You're repeating these cycles of information. You as an adult right now, you have the opportunity and the choice to choose and decide, do I want to continue along this trajectory, or do I want to choose that because I love those results? I actually would trade places over there. So I'm going to now target this and try to reshape some of the thoughts and beliefs and habits that I have, because I have a direction whether or not I know. If you get in the car and you start driving and you don't know where you're going to end up somewhere regardless. You have an opportunity to plug the destination into a GPS and choose something different.
You know, in network marketing, we used to tell people that we didn't really have an example growing up of success, right? So a part of the pitch is you need to be a part of this community so you can see some success. And I think one of the biggest issues now is we see too much success.
Yeah.
We didn't have, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, we couldn't follow 1,000 people and then pick the success we wanted to see. So for some of us, it's motivating, inspiring, right? But for some of us, it's detrimental to our success and our direction, because every different person I see, I want to be something else and I want to do something else. And we never really get to identify who we want to be or what we want to do.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous world we live in.
It is.
We were better off when we didn't have that many options. You go home, okay, my parents are successful, cool. You go to school, teachers are successful, cool. I might see a rapper or something like that and say, oh, I want to be that. And you start walking down that path. But now, for a lot of us, there's so many examples. How do I decide what I want to do or what makes me happy or what you feel like I remember, I don't like traveling. I'm not a big traveler. I have no desire to go see other places, believe it or not. That's just me. But everybody was telling me, oh, that's so dumb and da-da-da, you need to go see the world. I don't want to. I like being at the crib. I really, really do. So then I started to think to myself, okay, is something wrong with me? Okay, you know what? I do need to book some trips to see some different things and see some experiences. I don't. Now, Rashad, he's in China. And he showed like where he's at in China. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that. Wow. Okay, that's some travel that I saw that I want to do. I actually want to go to China.
Why?
I don't know. It just seemed cool.
What did he show that appealed to you?
It looked like a higher tech New York City. It looked like America. It was... I don't know, maybe the thought in my mind is like China, like it's a king, and then it's people in my mind. I don't know, but it just looks so fire, bro.
So knowing what I know about you, it's not even the travel that you desire, it's the inspiration that you desire.
it's me seeing something and I say, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do zip lining.
Yeah.
Because y'all said it was cool.
Because why am I risking my life? I want to go and see the innovators of the world. Take me there.
I hate heights. But so for what I've seen as of late, and I say as of late, the last couple of years, is when I see something that I genuinely want to do that's not influenced by anybody else, that's something that I like. But I've spent most of my life trying to like the things that I should like based on what everybody else says.
And that's what we do. And even as the strong friend, that's how we're living our lives. We are living our lives in a way that serves everybody else.
Yes.
And here in real time, it doesn't feel like it serves us sometimes. Sometimes the weight is just heavy.
Yeah.
If we weren't doing this, though, I know, especially for me and you, we would feel unfulfilled. We would not feel fulfilled in this life. But what I think we have to do is remember, just like we have to remember to eat, we have to remember to pour into our own cups. We have to be so deeply connected and aware of the things that make us feel filled. Like, I am the motivating friend or family member for a lot of people that I'm around. I notice you can't be sad and I don't know, right? And I'm going to call you and I'm going to try to start doing all the things. And I get on the phone with Dre like, hey, we need to do something for Dave. Like I'm highly intuitive, so I'm going to see it. I will motivate my friends. I will tell them how great they are. I'll say, hey, you've got so much potential. I don't need that kind of motivation, right? I don't need anybody to call me and tell me to get out of the bed. I don't need anybody to call me and tell me how smart I am. These are things that I know about myself. But what does Donni Wiggins need that makes me actually feel poured into? And for me, one of my number one values is consideration. Like when my friends consider me in the equation, like you make decisions where you actually considered me and how this is going to impact me. And this is in friendship. This is in relationship. For example, my mom makes me feel poured into because I don't have to take an Uber or a Lyft to the airport, right? It seems really, really small. But anytime I say, hey, I got to catch a flight, she's like, what time do I need to be there? Anytime I get in that group chat and I say, hey, Mom and Dej, my daughter, I'm about to board my flight to come back to Atlanta. My mom is like, what time do you land? That makes me feel so appreciated. Like, I know that she cares enough about me. She considers me. She's considering how tired I might be. She's considering my safety. She's considering my personal choice of not really loving to be in an Uber from the airport specifically late at night. My mom got me. She's going to come and pick me up, right? And that's something that's really, really simple. My friend Ernestine does a great job of, she's an actress and she always talks about, well, Donni, I don't really relate to that world of entrepreneurship. I don't know what you need there. But what she does know is that I love a good payday candy bar. And every chance she gets, whenever we meet, I don't care if it's every month or every 2 or 3 months, she's coming with a payday or she'll send it to my house. She and I went to lunch the other day and she mentioned a book that I might like. And I said, oh, text me that book because when I get home, I'm going to order it. Like that's something, the book excited me. She didn't text me the book. She texted me confirmation of the order. She sent me the book. Those are things that makes me feel poured. I don't need the motive. Just consider me. And that consideration may look different than how I consider you, right? But I think as the strong friend, we have to communicate what we value to people. Most people are trying to help us in ways. I don't need you to come to my birthday with high-end designer stuff. That's not what makes me feel poured into. Those are things that I do for myself, and I don't feel any kind of fulfillment from that. I like it. It's temporary joy. But you coming to my birthday party, when I know you're so busy, that makes me feel poured into. You taking the time to have something really thoughtful as we're going around the table sharing what I love most about Donni, and you have an actual connected memory to something that shows me that you really pay attention to me. That makes me feel poured into. So I try to stay in those environments. That's why every couple of months, me and Milan, and now me, Milan, and Jaleesa, we'll just hop away and take a trip together, because I know that that conversation is going to be full of God. It's going to be full of abundance. It's going to be full of advancement. It's going to be full of, I know what you need and I can actually contribute to that. It's going to be full of 3 women who are all successful in their own right, saying, let me put what I need to the side. Donni needs me right now. Milan needs me right now. Jaleesa needs me right now. Let me show up and pour into each other in this way. Those are the things that make me feel fulfilled. And over the last 2 or 3 years, I have been committed to making sure that I am prioritizing what I need to fill my cup up. So when I put my cape on, I don't feel used. I don't feel consistently depleted. That doesn't mean you'll never, but I don't consistently feel used. I don't consistently feel depleted. I don't consistently feel, inconsidered. I feel good about doing what I do.
Yeah. Dang, that's actually heavy. First off, Ernestine is like the model friend.
She is.
She is probably the best friend someone could have, man.
But not you, though, because I'm your best friend. Ernestine, hey, listen.
The best friend that someone could have.
She's the best profile of the...
She is the archetype of a friend.
If you have Ernestine as your best friend, you are so blessed and so lucky. We're both blessed that she's one of our closest friends.
Sure.
But just for clarity, when he said she's the best friend, he wasn't necessarily saying...
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
Man.
Because we're possessive about our friends.
Yeah. All right, Ernestine is possessive for sure.
EJ is possessive for sure. That girl will protect me, keep me locked up under her wing. You hear me? Love her. Shout out to Ernestine Morrison.
Yeah, I need to work on. I don't know if I don't know how much I get considered about stuff, and I think I've been scarred in that way. You know what I mean? Because I traditionally, and it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Like if I see a group of friends that go somewhere and I didn't get an invite, it doesn't really bother me, only because maybe in my personal development, it's like, yo, that's just that they're doing what they did, and maybe they didn't think of me, but and maybe I'm so into my own world that I don't get considered often, but that doesn't really bother me. But I think I've been scarred by people throughout my life where I've always felt used.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where when I grew up, it didn't feel like being used. It's like, oh, I'm just valuable.
Yeah.
I value add to people. But I don't, maybe I need to like spend some time. When you said it, I was like, dang, that's being considered. I'm trying to think of, outside of my first off, my wife considers me all day, only because she's around me all the time and she can really see, and people typically don't know if something's wrong with me unless I say it, which I share a lot. I've never hidden, like if I'm feeling away, I'm like, dang, I don't feel happy. You know what I mean? Or my morning meetup group or something like that, I'll let them know. But I need to like evaluate my relationships with people, period. Because I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that I'm connected to.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to start taking inventory.
That, yes. And I really feel like I feel like the people who have the healthiest relationships around have the fewest. I can't say that I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people that I know and that I actually like and enjoy, right?
How do you define a friend?
A friend for me are people at this season in my life. Number one, they're people that I consider and they have consideration of me. There are the people that I would think of if I were to get married. They're the first people that go on that list, right? If there's a life event happening, I need to be there. Though these people are my friends. I can talk to them. I trust them, with my business. These are people that we share very intimate moments with. These are people that can come to my home. I've come to their home, things of that nature. And they're people that are good for me. They're good for my energy. I trust their motives. I trust what they bring to my life. I trust that they have my best interest, right? These people are my friends. And then there's a group of people that I know and that I like and that I'm friendly with. We can do things. We can hang out. And we're probably associates and we probably have some type of a connection, but
that's not a friend.
It's somebody that you're acquainted with, right? It can be somebody that you are comfortable being around, but everybody can't necessarily be a friend. Everybody that you meet, there's so many people in this world. It's impossible to think that you won't meet a ton of them that you vibe with in some sort of way. But a friend to me is also somebody that I can have expectations of. I was just telling one of my friends, and I say this all the time, like, I'm in a season of expectations, right? So you can't come around me and tell me, like, in a dating scenario, well, I don't really want any expectations, then you can't date me. You can't come around me and as a friend say, hey, you really can't have expectations of me. Then you're not a friend. Everybody in my life I have an expectation of, right? And these are my boundaries. Because again, consideration is one of my core values. So I have to be able to expect that you consider me in your way, right? So like you, for so many years, you're always putting me on to opportunities. Donni, I think you'd be great for this. You're pushing me. I expect that from you. And if you didn't do that, like, what's up? What are we doing? Right? Like, what are we doing? I expect that I can be able to come and talk to you and you take my issues seriously and you care about them. I have friends that I expect to be a part of your life with your children and, you know, things of that nature. The people that I would date, I have expectations, like, and you should have expectations because your expectations speak to your values and your boundaries. Yeah. Anybody that says to you, you can't or shouldn't have an expectation of them is a person who is either triggered or unable to fulfill what your boundaries are. These are people who already know that they're not going to be able to honor whatever it is that you expect. Oh, you want to date me exclusively? Don't have that expectation of me. Now you have a decision. Do I violate my own boundaries and the things that I value just to be closely connected to this person? That person's not somebody that you should be dating. Or if your friend says, if you're a person who values that people show up for you and that's something that you expect of your friends to show up. Not 100% of the time, but I do expect around 60% of the time you show up to my special things. And this friend says, I'm not really a people person. You can't ever really count on me to show up for you in that way. That's not a person that you should put at the top of your friend list, because this is a person that's going to trigger you every single time you place an expectation on them that you've communicated that I need my friends to show up for me. That's how I feel loved. That's how I feel poured into. And expectations are different for everybody, but you should have expectations of anybody that you're calling your friend, anybody that you are dating, anybody that you're sleeping with, anybody that's going to be closely connected to you.
What if your expectations aren't going to be met by that person, but they show up in other ways?
Well, yeah. And so that's, you know, that's something that you have to determine if it's valuable to you. So if I need your time,
case by case.
Yeah, it's case by case. If I need, and in my friend circle, I don't have the same expectations of everybody. I know how Ernestine's going to show up. I know how Bree is going to show up. I know how Milan and Jaleesa are going to show up. I can't expect for Milan to get on every single one of my webinars because I want her support, right? She's busy. So when I say to Milan, yo, I'm going through it right now and I really need a girls trip to Arizona, Milan's going to stop what she's doing and be there. That's now an expectation that we have of each other. I know I can count on her in that way, right? It's going to be very, very different. I know, like my friend Naja, you know, she might not be able to go on all of the super luxurious travel vacations, but she knows that we have an expectation of each other to help us get to our best selves on a wellness journey. So if you suddenly now start falling off and I can't count on you to work out with me and we're no longer discussing wellness, then that might change the scope of our friendship just a little bit, right? She counts on me to pour into her and tell her, you know, give her, like, she counts on me to be the big sister that she never had. And that's who I am to her. But if I stop being that big sister to her, then my role in her life is a little different. Man. So we got to assess it. So if I tell you, if I'm dating someone and I say that quality time and acts of service are very important to me, this is what I expect. And you tell me I can't really spend too much time and I like to be served too, so I can't see myself serving you, but I'll buy you all the designer stuff you want. I'm going to have to choose to not date you because that's not what I need. I don't want to expect things from you when I want time from you.
And I can see in some scenarios where someone might settle for the things and not what they get what they really want. And from the outside looking in, oh, she made it or he made it and has this wonderful life, but I've literally settled and I don't get my expectations. And then I have to keep showing up like I made the right decision when you know deep down inside, I haven't.
And that's in relationships and friendships. And this is when this is what happens when people end up auditing their friendships and their relationships that they've entertained, and you don't feel like you belong in that friend circle, or you do see your other friends going out and hanging out and they're not inviting you because they say, oh, you're the person who's not going to show up, or this isn't for you, this isn't your vibe. When you start compromising on your boundaries and your needs and your expectations and the things that you value, you'll end up wasting 1, 3, 5, 10 or more years of your life trying to fit in around people who were never designed for you. And because now you start to focus all your energy on what you're not getting out of these relationships, it becomes really difficult and challenging for you to place emphasis on what you actually need to go out there and find that, because now you're drowning in a pool of what you don't want. It's hard to paddle your way out of that pool of drowning through what you don't want to actually go over into this pool of what you do want.
That's good. This is going to need a part 2.
This is going to need a part 2.
This is going to need a part 2 because I actually expect us to meet after this recording so that we can talk about our plans.
That's what you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My expectation.
Yeah. I expected to record a couple of episodes today. Yeah, for sure.
Our expectations were not met on either side.
Our expectations were not met.
Yeah, so we got about 15 minutes.
We got about 15 minutes.
You know, if you want to try to.
You want to do that
12.
Now? Huh?
12 minutes maybe.
Yeah, we got a cool 15 minutes. For sure. Let us know what you thought about this episode, you guys. We need to know what stood out for you the most. We're talking about the strong friends. We're talking about the weak friends. We're talking about the super confident friends. We're talking about the friends who lack confidence. You're our friends regardless. You're our social proof family and friends. And we want to know what resonated with you the most. Where did you see in this conversation where you can stand to improve, where you can become more introspective, where you can audit what you've got going on in your life, but not just what you've got going on in your life, but actually take some time and audit what you're accepting in your life. What you're accepting is a direct correlation to the quality of life experience that you have while you're here. And I believe that everybody deserves to max out on this life's experience.
That's a fact. Hey, put your thoughts in the comments, please. Do the audit, find out what makes you happy. And if you can, man, this will be very helpful. In the comments, put what makes you happy. Put what you are actually going to do. Tell us, okay, throughout this episode, I did text somebody or I had a conversation with somebody, and this is what happened. We want to see it, man, so other people can see it and be encouraged. Like, okay, well, this is maybe something that I need to do, man. And we understand for those that are strong that you are hurting out here, and I want you to get help.
Ooh, strong people hurt too.
Go get
we
help.
Bleed too. We cry too. We feel weak too. Your strong friends are actually weak, but we're going to talk about that on part 2. Bye.
Peace. You just watched this whole episode. If you like this episode, watch this one right here. Click right here. You're going to like this one if you like the one you just watched. Check it out.